That building caught on fire. This building is mega haunted. They did electroshock therapy and water deprivation therapy. They strap you in a clawfoot tub, wood board across top of it, and they thought that darkness cured insanity. 87 people died here in 1 year. You had no name, you had a number. If I see a dead body coming through the corridor, it's gonna make me flip out. All the old sanatoriums have tunnels under them just to move the bodies.
So you think the tunnels are haunted?
Oh, without a doubt. They could almost see spirits coming through the fire, smoke. You know, they were literally hanging there on the curtains. Yeah, it's nutty. And he found shackles on the wall.
We began today's expedition with the expectation of documenting another set of crumbling buildings, a task now very familiar to us. The Middletown Homeopathic Hospital was a complex of buildings forming a mental hospital founded in the 1870s, claiming to treat their patients with alternative medicine. Although the hospital officially closed in 2006, it became very clear to us that a similar institution was still operating in renovated buildings on the property, a patchwork of renovated abandoned buildings. Soon after a little exploration, we found something was clearly very off. People, possibly patients, milled around the grounds, staring at us as we walked by.
Two teenage boys continuously rode their go-kart on the roads attempting to hit Cooper and I, and as we made our way towards one of the main electrical buildings, prior to entering, we saw a woman in an upper window quickly hide herself as we noticed her. Assuming it was either another patient or a squatter, we made no further effort in exploring that building. As we approached what turned out to be our last building, a woman wearing no shoes greeted us on the steps. Claiming to be on a construction crew, she told us a distorted history of the buildings and her past. She made references to current events, such as with the George Floyd case, but continuously made errors in her depiction, confusing Floyd with the Austrian psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud.
Or their actual belief, it's violate the human nature. It violates everything, the Bible, of the Jesus or temple.
So what you're saying, you won't get the virus as long as you're not in the Communist Party?
Yeah.
So we don't need to worry about it if we're not in the Communist Party?
You don't need to. You don't need a mask and you don't need to worry about it. It's not going to attack you.
Oh.
Yeah. So for those people, if their mind is not, they don't agree with God, because Communist Party is devil. Everything that they do is destroy human nature, destroy human good nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you know the person with the last name Floyd, right? Floyd.
Yeah.
The black person.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Floyd, yeah.
I remember when I was in college, and then I went to Bonner, you know, the Columbia University.
Yeah.
There's a Bonner Women's College.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Bonner College, they have a laboratory for all the I took all their psychiatric courses.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I remember Freud. All his theory is about sex, and I found that hard for me to accept.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, you know, God creates the world is meant for people to think of it that way. So I was very
After speaking with her, another car pulled up and a man walked out and began to speak of the history of the buildings. In asking for an interview, here is his recollection of the history.
So do you want to tell us like what you remember of these places?
You gotta kind of give me like some kind of bearing. I'm kind of drunk.
Oh, gotcha.
So just give me kind of a bearing where to go from.
I don't know, just the history of these buildings.
Well, I know for a fact that building there, the one that looks like an old You can only see the bottom of it right now. If you walk over that way, it almost looks like it's from Europe. It looks like an old German. It's got like the gingerbread on the top and everything. That was the nurses' building. That building had a pool in it. That building caught on fire. This building is mega haunted. The building that burnt down over here, that was one of the first buildings in New York State that they did electroshock therapy and water deprivation therapy, which is where they strap you in a clawfoot tub with a wood board across top of it. And they thought that solidarity, that quiet, that darkness, that the water around you cured insanity. If you go back, this complex was opened in 1847. I love this area. I've done research. I found 1 year's worth of paperwork, and 87 people died here in 1 year. If you can imagine this being open from 1847 to 1997, imagine if that small amount of people died here every year for that many years.
It's pretty insane. What were you saying about the tunnels?
If you in all old psych centers here, Letchworth Village,
Yeah, we've been there.
Waverly Hills in Kentucky, which was a tuberculosis sanatorium. If you passed away and other people were mentally challenged, in that day and age, if you were mentally challenged, you were state property. Your family disowned you. And if you passed away, they built a box out of pine. You had no name, you had a number. Excuse me. And if you passed away, if you can think about you being mentally insane, me being mentally insane, God forbid you pass away. If I see a dead body coming through the corridor of the building I'm in, it's going to make me flip out. So all the old sanitariums have tunnels under them. And that was to move the bodies so that the other patients didn't lose their cool, I guess.
So you think the tunnels are haunted?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Have you been in any of them?
The building that was over there, that burned to the ground. I know firemen. I work for the city. And I know firemen that were there, and they said that they could almost see spirits coming through the fire. Smoke, you know what I mean? And I had been in that building before it passed away, and I was with my sister, and she's, a good-sized girl. She's my size. And she had a friend with her that was smaller. And her friend was literally in my back pocket. I felt like she was piggybacking me the whole time because she would hear things, she would see things. I went in the basement of the building over there, and it literally looked like we had worked there, and they had sent our our uniforms out to press. They were literally hanging there on the curtains, on the clothes hangers, and they looked like they had just been pressed, and they were told, leave. You can't come back to work.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, it's nutty. And I know a guy who worked at emergency housing, which is the first building if you come in this entrance over here. Now, way down there, there is emergency, and when you're coming in, emergency housing is to your right. That's for homeless people, single mothers that can't afford anything, yada yada yada. It's to help people. He worked there, and he had gone in the basement. He said that he was in the basement. And he found the entrance to the tunnels, described it just like the entrance to the tunnels in that building, had been walled off. And he knocked a couple bricks loose, climbed through, and he found shackles on the wall. He had a pair of shackles from the wall here.
And they would chain up the patients here?
If I'm going crazy and you two are crazy, if you can isolate me and keep the status quo with the rest of the people and everybody calm, that's what you do.